Well,
And
hey,
that,
listen to this, Scott.
How about now? Testing one,
The
two,
other
three.
thing I thought was
Testing.
through your jiu-jitsu, you don't even need any of that.
bam.
We're focused on all this high level
you do hear
jiu-jitsu
other audio?
training and force. You don't need any of that. It makes everybody a black belt. If
Yeah,
you
a lot of guys talking on the show, so that's normal. That's good. All right, buddy. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So that's my point, right? You have these gloves. You have minimal amount of training. You should still have to. I mean, which cops do. I'm sure you go through the academy. You get, but in the academy, put the gloves on. Make this part of your. This is BII. This is SOP. This is on your kit. This is like a firearm. This is like cuffs. This is part of your kit. You can put them on there, and I mean, with a little bit of skill, right? You've gained advantage. I watch these YouTube videos, man, all the time, and I'm seeing these cops fighting, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, if only they had the glove, it would end. Because even if they had gloves on, even if they had all that, you take your hand and you put it on their face. You can do that. It doesn't kill you. It just hurts like hell. You put it on their face, and they're going to get away from you. They're going to at least back off. They're going to at least, you're going to create distance. Or, in your training, you learn like, hey, I just lift up the back of their jacket or their shirt, and I put it on the small of their back. I mean, there's just little things, I love it. And I hope, Travis, that you help get the word out there, because I think it's a life-saving device for both officers and,
well, the frustrating part is, I think you're right. I can't in my mind fathom how a police chief could sleep at night without this device, but they do it very well. And I think it's because they buy into the profession is really bad about anything new, anything out there that's different. And it's just the easy decision to go with Axon. With Axon. That's just the easy. And we see that in training world. We see that in the recruiting. Everywhere we see it, we just see them. It's just easy. Just do a recruiting video. Just easy.
Mm-hmm.
This is
guys,
mind-boggling.
Let me just get a word out to our streamers, guys. You guys have tuned into Leo Roundtable. Our satellite radio portion of the show is going to start in roughly about 3 minutes. We got a countdown timer behind me. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, you want to type them in on the stream, feel free to do that. And obviously, we've got Dr. Travis Yates and Scott Steyer from Aero Precision on the show. So go ahead and take it from here, guys.
Yeah, I was also thinking, how do we, as far as like getting the word out there? I mean, Jeff has done an amazing job. The whole thing, he's done all the hard legwork, right? All the white paper, all the research. He has the right people. We have an NSN for the Army. The Army bought off on it. I mean, Leavenworth ordered a bunch of them. There's a lot of good things. It's all coming up, and it's just, I think it's like there's just this little gap, and I don't know if it just is a matter of time before a huge federal or state agency goes, yes, we all got it. And then it starts it off. It starts the flow. Hey,
guys watching the stream, we're talking about the Compliant Technologies, the glove, and Travis and I got glove last week, and we're newfound. We believed in the product, but now we really do. Yeah. So that was a pretty emotional outburst from you too, Travis, at the after being gloved. So that was great.
I lost a friend, and then another friend's life is completely altered with traumatic brain injury in one incident that would not have occurred with the glove. Would not have occurred. 100% would not have occurred if they would have had that. And so I take ownership for that, because I was in a high-end leadership position when that occurred. I had no idea it existed. But if a leader knows about it, and they know that it will prevent at least 50% of deadly force encounters, at least. And that is because 50% of deadly force encounters happen within 5 feet.
Okay.
It's going to eliminate all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking out of turn, Chip. I've reviewed, as you know, hundreds of these videos over the past 5 years. I know for a fact the glove would eliminate half of all deadly force. So my question is, if it would eliminate half of all deadly force, then why don't we have it? What's going on? Why are we not making this decision?
There's the Scott's holding up the for our audio listeners. Scott's holding up a pair of the gloves right now. that he's showing us. So
yeah, just so for the viewers who haven't seen any of this, this is what it is. You have the positive and negative, or vice versa. I'm not sure, but you have to the only way this works is if it's on your skin and these two surfaces touch the skin. It's very localized. It's your sensorial portion of your nervous system, which means it's just the nerves on your skin. The electricity doesn't pass through your body from one thing to, it's very, very safe. It's just very effective, and it hurts.
We got 15 seconds, guys. It snuck up on us. So I'm going to start the music. Here we go. All right, guys, and welcome to Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host, and we're a group of law enforcement professionals that talk about today's news and issues, but we do it from a law enforcement perspective. And let me introduce you to the crew, guys. If you don't mind waiting for the video portion of our show, he's back, Dr. Travis Yates, retired police major from the Tulsa Police Department. So thanks for being back on the show, Doctor. Also, Scott Steyert, he is with Aero Precision at aeroprecisionusa.com, and of course has an excellent background in special forces and with a little outfit called Delta. So good deal. Shout out to our sponsors. Gauls, our title sponsor at Gauls.com. We also have CompliantTechnologies.com, our satellite sponsor. We have AeroPrecisionUSA.com, our arms sponsor, and that's Scott's company. We have Gunlearn.com, Medicare.live, SafeguardRecruiting.com, our streaming sponsor. And yes, we're streaming over 1 million people on this live show right now. And TwoBells.com, the built a new online store at LeoRoundtable.com. Please check out our gear. It's rock bottom prices. We don't make a dime off of anything we sell. We want to keep the prices low for you guys. And also FishOrlandoBass.com. Zach has got a bass fishing charter at FishOrlandoBass.com. In the Orlando area. Check that out. Also, a shout out to Brian Burns from the Tampa Free Press at TampaFP.com. Thanks for carrying our content, Brian. Ray Dietrich, former lawman.com. Same thing. And finally, our own Travis Yates on the show with lawofficer.com. Thanks to all those entities for helping make the show happen. And now, what in the world are we talking about? Travis, I threw in an article that I didn't tell you about, but I figured, since you wrote it, there was no need. I was holding it for you, and then you signed up for today's show. But we got politicians are creating chaos with these words, and you know what I'm talking about, and it's about ICE. And so we're going to do our Minneapolis thing, get people caught up in what's going on in Minneapolis. We've also got Jacksonville firefighters, plural, arrested after a paintball attack hits a police cruiser. Are you kidding me? I was disappointed to see that. Body cam shows Chicago police officer shooting a bad guy in the back of the head. And this is another potential glove story to where it likely would have been able to prevent this from happening. And yeah, the officer took a ride in a car and he shot the guy in the back of the head that was driving. Greenville Sheriff's Office determined deadly deputy shooting of a knife-wielding suspect was justified. We have 10 officers. They are outed for cheating at the Mount Pleasant Police Department. And we got a video showing Miami-Dade deputy fatally shooting an armed suspect outside Walmart, but he did it when the suspect disengaged from him and was running away. We're gonna talk about that and about the justification of the shoot. And then finally, we have a woman armed with a knife fatally shot by a Grand Forks County Sheriff's deputy. So that's what we have. If you guys are ready, let's go in and get into the Minneapolis stuff. I tell you, there's stuff going on there every day. We had a wild show yesterday. It was a little bit of heated debate going on. So this one, the sources are lawofficer.com is our first source. And then we have numerous stories from them. We have the Liberty Daily, which is on Rumble, dailycaller.com, truesocial.com, and that is the Donald J. Trump page. So we're starting off with politicians are creating chaos with these words. And a few weeks ago, Travis said that he started noticing a dangerous trend online. I noticed it too. But Travis wrote this great article. Police and border agents, or ICE, they're saying that they're not law enforcement. And he goes on to say that just days after the trend started, the partner of Renee Good, remember the female, they said that was her wife, but ended up not being, she was heard on video saying that she couldn't believe ICE had real bullets. So we've got a rumor going around that they're not real cops. And then we got then we have somebody being surprised they've got real bullets. And after the second ICE shooting in Minneapolis, Governor Tim Walz repeatedly claimed that ICE was not law enforcement. So I've got other stories under the headline, but Travis, I thought we'd start off with this one and just talk about, what's going on. And people are kind of, if they hear enough, they're going to start thinking ICE isn't real. They're not real cops.
Yeah, this is not unique. It's in the playbook, right? I mean, you can go back to 2020 when what they do is they dehumanize groups of people. In 2020, they dehumanize police officers. They're brutal. They're Nazis. They're not this. They don't have this. And everyone decided they start attacking police officers. And it's ironic that ever since 2020, assaults on officers have increased every single year since that. And in fact, I cited a study in the article where it said, and this was a study they did in 2021, and they asked them, they said, what's your political affiliation? And they asked them how many unarmed blacks were killed last year. And as you go across the political lines, the numbers changed. But what was striking was those identified as liberal said that there were 10,000 blacks shot unarmed by police the previous year. The real number was 12. Okay, so. And what I've always said, and I cited that article, is that, listen, if I was a complete idiot and I believed that, I'd probably be in the streets stealing TVs too. I mean, that's an outrageous thing to believe. Well, here we are, 2026, and it's the exact same playbook. The propaganda makes people believe certain things, and there's a segment of society that will react on that propaganda. That's why I think with these politicians, and it's not just the Twitter spirit saying it. Tim Walz has said it. Jacob Fry has said it. These politicians are saying publicly, and in fact, Walz said it after the second shooting. Quit referring to them as ICE, is what he as law enforcement, is what he said. The idea that ICE isn't law enforcement is insane. They all know they're law enforcement. They can enforce federal law. They know this. So why are they saying it? They're saying it because it's a trigger for crazy, insane people to act out and create chaotic scenes, which is exactly what's happening. And so it's hard to not see that and not understand how these shootings are not put on them as accountability. I mean, we've had none of these politicians in Minnesota say something like this. You can protest, it's your right, but do not confront law enforcement doing their job. It's dangerous. None of them will say that. Why won't they say that? Because they want them to act out. And it's really, I don't think many people's pointing this out. You cannot say they aren't law enforcement without knowing it's going to trigger people to go, well, they're just mass people kidnapping Americans. They're like Gestapo. They're like Nazis. So what do you do to Nazis? You fight Nazis. This is what is happening over and over and over again. And the reason we need to hold them accountable is because this is what they keep doing. They did it in 2020. They're doing it now. They'll do it later on. They'll keep doing it, and it's creating a real dangerous environment. I mean, Chip, if people don't understand what I'm saying, imagine the job you do. Maybe you're an accountant, or maybe you work at Walmart. Every day when you try to do your job, there's 30 or 40 people driving their car around you, throwing stuff at you, screaming at you. You would not be able to do your job. That's the environment that this type of rhetoric has created. And so, yes, there's been shootings. Of course there has been. Everywhere they go is a dangerous environment. There's people bringing guns to these environments. And listen, I didn't even mention this in the article, but just a couple of weeks ago, the liberals were held in a photograph that was all over the internet of a guy standing in front of his house with an AR-15 saying he's protecting his neighborhood from ICE. And they were just praising this man, which I said at the time, you can't do that in front of law enforcement doing their job, because that's not just resistance now, that's an imminent threat. And if you do that, it's one thing to scream at a police officer, but if you scream at a police officer while you hold a gun, you're creating an imminent threat, which will create deadly force. And it was just 2 weeks after that, we started seeing these shootings. And so this has all been perpetrated by the politicians. So regardless of your political views, regardless of what you think about ICE, think about that environment that they've created. Of course, this is going to happen.
Yeah, and I wonder if Governor Walz and the mayor is going to be held accountable. There's no doubt. Like this is it's just like you said. This is a playbook. This is what we would do if the CIA went and go to another country, sow unrest. Maybe it's in our interest, the U.S. interest, to kind of destabilize a government. This is what we do. This is a playbook. This is being orchestrated from. I guarantee you, there's outside influence orchestrating this. Guarantee it. Now, and I hope they collect that. So, but you said something very important. These idiots, you have to be an idiot. They're useful idiots. If only these people realize they're being played. Imagine this, because I thought about this, because I was like, man, they keep saying that ICE, it's not a law enforcement. And then I Googled it. Yes, of course they are. Imagine if it was, say, I don't know, the FBI, U.S. Marshals. put any other federal government, or federal law enforcement agency in that statement. Is it still okay? Is it okay to go after when they're doing their job? They're literally, it's a law. It's a law. It's like these guys are doing it. So this is crazy. And these idiots, they're being played, and it's out of control. And I blame the freaking politicians, all these leaders. They're the ones, because these people, these useful idiots that are running around doing this, they think they have coverage from the top. It's not only do they think they have, they're legally okay to do it, they think they're going to be okay and protected from the top, because that's what's been going on in Minnesota forever. Just look aside. Don't worry about the crimes. As long as we're in power, as long as we're in office, they're going to vote for us. Let all this fraud, let all this. We've created an environment. It is bad. And I guarantee you, Minnesota is not the only state. And yeah, so now we can't just stop, because then it's like, oh, mob rule. So in other words, you start, shooting people, threatening people, posting up people on federal agents as they come through. That's okay. So we can't leave this like it is. We set a precedent. So it's bad, man.
Well, it's
really
clearly
bad.
A leadership issue, Scott, because it's
Absolutely.
only happened in Minnesota. ICE is in all across the country doing this. It's only happening there.
Yeah, exactly. It's so obvious. So I hope they're gonna do the right thing. I hope this sounds on so many levels.
All right, guys, it's time for our next commercial break. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, guys, it's time to talk about our title sponsor, Galls at Galls.com. As police officers, we get gear every day. It's what we do really good. But when you really think about it, when they open up the door for online purchases, we can get from almost anywhere, right? But I want to remind everybody what's really important here. It's about supporting the companies that actually support law enforcement. And I don't know if a company does that better than Galls at Galls.com. Even their motto is proud to serve those who serve, which of course they do in spectacular fashion. Not only that, they walk the talk by supporting dozens of focused organizations like this radio show. So when you're looking for gear, please support our title sponsor by going to Galls at Galls.com. And they're going to do one better. For the loyal listeners of the show, they're going to give you a radio code. It's Radio 15. And in order to get 15% off your next purchase, it works on most items at Galls. Again, Radio 15, they get 15% off, and they have gift cards. Hook up your family, friends, and loved ones with a new Galls gift card, and they will be your new best friends at Galls.com. And hey, they pretty much have everything but guns and ammo. If you haven't been there before, go there today, Galls.com. And now it's time to talk about Compliant Technologies at CompliantTechnologies.com. And of course, our favorite product is the glove, but they have other stuff too. In today's world, protection goes beyond physical safety. It's about safeguarding those on the front lines from what we call hidden threats. And that's where MyTech, a division of Compliant Technologies, comes in. Now, their Eagle Protect nitrile gloves, they offer 4-hour fentanyl and saline protection, giving you peace of mind in high-risk environments. Plus, their MyShield disinfectants and sanitizers, they actually eliminate 99.9% of germs, bacteria, and viruses on contact. And they continue to kill for up to 28 days, helping you stay protected both on and off duty. So when safety is non-negotiable, you can trust MyTech to deliver the protection that you need. You're going to learn more about how to equip your team today by simply going to CompliantTechnologies.com/MyTech. Again, Compliant Technologies /MITEK, because the best defense starts with the right protection. And when you go, make sure you watch those cool videos of the glove. They're absolutely amazing. CompliantTechnologies.com. All right, we got 2 minutes before we come back to the radio portion of the show. And good start. Sorry I had to get you there, Scott. We were getting, I don't think you saw the clock, and we were getting on a roll.
Yeah, I was on my sip. Yeah, so it's just crazy to me, and I know that a lot of people are frustrated, and I get it. But at the end of the day, just open your eyes, people. Just don't be so stupid. I mean, I get it. You don't like Trump. You don't, whatever. You got your opinion. I understand that, but to go after ICE, they're shooting the messenger, so to speak. They're the messenger. They're doing their job. If you want to protest anything, protest against the law, against a politician, peacefully. Okay. But to go after who's trying to do their job. And oh, by the way, it's not like Border Patrol and ICE agents haven't been shot at or tried, or people haven't tried to kill them or haven't made threats to their lives. So what, put yourself into their shoes, going into an environment where there's like all this madness, yelling, people just screaming, I mean, filthy stuff, knowing they've been doxxed, knowing their lives have been threatened. And then you think that's okay and something bad won't happen from that. It's and going back to the leadership, they know that. But because Walz and Fry, they're probably guilty in this whole fraud thing. And, they're just trying to get, you have one element trying to destroy our country, right, from the outside, and they're using these useful idiots. They're paying them. And then you have the politicians who are like just trying to divert all the all this noise so they don't see the real problem, which is all, sorry, I'm taking up all your time here, but all the corruption, it's they're trying to hide it.
All right, we're doing therapy for Scott Steyert. I think he got it out of his system. Back to radio. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com. My name is Chip DeBlock, and I'm your host, and we're a group of law enforcement professionals that talk about today's news and issues, but we do it from a law enforcement perspective. And we've got Dr. and retired Major Travis Yates from the Tulsa Police Department, TPD. It sounds like my agency from Tampa. And then we have Scott Steyert with Aero Precision, also former Green Beret and Delta Force member. Guys, we've been talking about Minneapolis. I have some other headlines that I want to throw in the mix real quick here before we continue. Minneapolis hotel protest that turns violent outside Home 2 Suites. And that video was almost as bad as the next one. Anti-ICE riders trashed a Minnesota hotel they believed ICE officers were staying at, and it was pathetic. Minnesota cops surrender an entire city blocks, plural, to lawless riders. That said that the DCNF observed the crowd protesting at the hotel for more than 2 hours while blocking the road with debris. And the Minnesota State Police, they were about to encircle the group for arrest, but then the feds showed up, and without being asked to. And it says that they showed a clip, and they were saying, "Hey, where's the local PD, the Minneapolis police?" That's what an armed federal agent shouted while guarding the Minneapolis hotel, and he's bleeding from his face and his hands because the local cops aren't there to help him out. And but they will send them out into the scene if there's a shooting by the feds, because they want to go in and seize the scene, grab the evidence and stuff for potential prosecution of our federal partners. The DCNF only saw one local police officer on the scene at the hotel lobby, which I'm assuming he was working off duty. And a day prior, riders used trash cans, dumpsters, chairs, and other debris to form a barricade around an intersection on Saturday night, creating a law enforcement free zone reminiscent of Seattle, Washington's Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or called CHAZ, back in 2020. And, we're not done yet. Then we've got, it says, protest when law enforcement throws a bang or a flashbang near you, don't pick it up and try to throw it back. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but that was priceless. MBS is talking about over in Rummel right now. We got Governor Tim Walz calling the president. So Tim Walz called the president. The president said on True Social that it was a good call, and they seem to be on a similar wavelength. I know that the president's changing strategy in Minnesota right now. I don't know if it's solely because of the call or not. And then we got Minneapolis Police Chief O'Hara saying that it doesn't matter if the shooting was justified. He says that the city has reached a dangerous tipping point, warning the public anger over the recent federal-involved shootings. He says it's so intense that a legal justification that comes later on through the court may not be enough to calm the streets. So that's what he's saying. Travis?
Yeah, first I want to address one of your commenters here named Mary. She says, it sounds like you think January 6th is a peaceful protest. This is the brain loss that Scott and I are talking about. What we're talking about have anything to do with January 6th? January 6th was violent. 2020 was violent. This is violent. So you got to step away from CNN and MSNBC and just think about this. You cannot look at the images in Minneapolis and try to go, yeah, but January 6th. What are you talking about? It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't even know what your question was, Chip. What was the question?
No, I was just asking you to give commentary. I just went through all the other articles, including the one about the female that picked up the flashbang, and then she's running through the crowd with her hand in the air.
The whole thing is just insanity, and the idea that nobody from a leadership position is telling people, stop rioting, stop attacking law enforcement. They're saying the opposite. They're encouraging it. And so, listen, I know Waltz called Trump, but Waltz is never going to do what Trump said. Trump said, I will pull out the Border Patrol because they are having to assist ICE because of the crowd. So I'll pull out Border Patrol if you, A, give me your current prisoners in state custody that are illegal immigrants, give us to them so we can deport them the way the law says, and B, your local police will cooperate with us when they arrest an illegal immigrant. We can come pick them up and deport them as the law says. Waltz will never do that, because he cares more about the chaos than he does actually solving it. So that's all for naught. And Trump should not back down. This is a crime.
Yeah.
This is a crime that has been on the books for decades. The same politicians moaning about this are the ones that passed the law on illegal immigration. I mean, Trump's got nothing on Barack Obama. I mean, he deported over 3 million people during his tenure. And who did he use to do that, Chip? Oh, that's right. He used ICE. Nobody seemed to care because people lose their minds when they see the propaganda, and the propaganda wasn't there then.
Yeah.
100%. Excellent point. You know, there's things they could do. They can invoke a curfew, and an enforceable curfew. They're not doing it. And I mentioned on yesterday's show that they can even have prohibited by city ordinance in Minneapolis from wearing facial coverings, things to disguise yourself when you show up in public. But they're not doing that either. So yeah, I believe I agree with you, Travis. They're absolutely love what's going on, and it helps take the distraction. The governor certainly loves it because it's taking the distraction of the Somali, corruption off of his shoulders, because he's not in the limelight anymore. He's making sure that ICE stays in the limelight.
Well, he's being investigated criminally for that. He knew about that and didn't do anything about it. In fact, that's the only reason he's not running again. In fact, he's liable to have to resign based on that. But you're right. That's sort of delaying all that and keeping that out of the headlines. Although it's not in the mainstream headlines. It's just in the headlines of,
It doesn't fit the name. And let's not forget, if the last president didn't let in, I don't know, I've heard anything anywhere from 10 million to 30 billion illegal immigrants, probably wouldn't be doing this anyhow. It's probably not even necessary. But I mean, somebody's got to do it. I mean, it's like, what do you expect? I mean, these people are here. I mean, it has to be done. You have to remove them because it's a drain on our society. You can't handle it.
Well, and take a step back from all this. What are the two issues that the left has completely lost their mind about in the last 12 months? Fraud, Doge, fraud, and illegal immigration. That's what they've focused on in the last 12 months. So consider why. Well, fraud is their power for money, and immigration is their power for voting bloc.
Well, they need the immigrants there in order to get the welfare systems to abuse and become rich. Because I think that's why it was the Somalis. I mean, it's because they're playing on the niceness of American, like, we're very given people, and they come in there, and then of course, and you have the politicians that are going, oh, wait a minute, and I can have power. Yeah, I mean, all I got to do, these people are guaranteeing that they're gonna rally the troops. They're gonna vote for me. I just got to line their pockets and make them happy, and they look the other way.
Well, perfect timing, Scott. Time for our second commercial break, guys. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, guys, introducing Aero Defense by Aero Precision at aeroprecisionusa.com, a beacon of durability, dependability, and all-American craftsmanship in the realm of duty rifles. And yes, we're talking about Scott's favorite subject, long guns. They're born from an aerospace engineering company, so these guys know what they're doing. And Aero Defense by Aero Precision demands perfection because settling for anything less is not an option when your life is on the line. Visit aeroprecisionusa.com for a lineup that matches every discipline because they basically have something for everybody. And back since 1994, they've been quietly leading the air builder parts domain, but now they're making waves in the complete rifle arena with Solus bolt actions. And that's not all. Their M4E1 Pro and Mod 4 handguards, they already hit the market at aeroprecisionusa.com. The embodiments of duty rifle excellence, but now they're being tailored for the civilian customer, which means that now you guys can start getting your hands on the primo stuff. And their AR 308 M5, that platform is nothing short of spectacular. So don't settle for less when you can have the best. Head over to aeroprecisionusa.com. Again, aeroprecisionusa.com. All right, guys, we have 4 minutes before we come back to the radio portion. All right, and the show, just like that, we're halfway through. Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe it's halfway through. This is a very I don't know, hot topic, I guess. There's a lot to talk about. But
we had some spirited debate yesterday. We had Jeff Wenninger on, and myself, and the CEO for Compliant Technologies, of course, Jeff Nicholas. And Jeff, we had two Jeffs. So Jeff Wenninger, or actually we had Chief Schultz on too. So Wenninger was definitely quite a bit more liberal than anybody else on the panel, questioning a lot of things that are being done, that we need to change things that we're doing.
Well, I find it hard to understand, because I can only imagine the conversation revolved around community and trust and this and that. What about the trust we need to have in the community that we can go do our jobs and not be attacked? That goes both ways. And I don't know how in that environment you can expect anything but what you're seeing. Once again, if anybody's having to do a mission and having to do a job and they're encountering that type of behavior, how are you supposed to react to it? What are you supposed to do when people refuse to come out of cars, when people are stepping in your way? You have to use force. Now, that's all for optics. They want that to be seen in optics, because notice most of the videos we're seeing the clip of the actual force. You're not seeing what's happening before the use of force. That's almost every clip you're seeing. So it's done by design, but I don't know how you overcome that unless you just abandon ship and let the state burn to the ground. I don't know how you overcome that.
But it's bigger than that, because if you go away and you're like, oh, okay, whatever, you just set a precedent. Anytime I don't want law enforcement, it doesn't have to be ICE now. You never said it had to be ICE. It's a federal agent. So if you want to just go out there and just protest violently, burn stuff to the ground, and use guns to protect your neighborhood against federal agents, and if they come in, implying you're going to shoot them, then you can do that to any cop. So you can't do that. You set a precedent. It's like, if these ICE agents were rogue and they were doing something against the law, then absolutely. Then if that was the case, I guarantee you there'd be real federal agents going in and arrested those. It's just like these people are crazy. They literally are crazy. They're not even what's the opposite of emotion? Logic. There is no logic involved here. It's all emotion, and they're being manipulated by a foreign government outside of this state. They're being manipulated by organizations that are being funded by foreign, wanting to see the destruction of America. So you're useful idiots. You're playing into the hands. It's not even.
Shame on the Trump administration, because this same thing happened in 2020 and no one followed the money. So shame on the Trump administration if they do not follow the money on what's going on here and out the people involved.
Yeah, they have a chance to end this finally. I mean, end it, right? And I think
part of the Jacksonville guys, we got a Jacksonville story, lawofficer.com. Jacksonville firefighters arrested after paintball attack hits a police cruiser. I was disappointed to see this because it sounds like horseplay, nothing criminal. And for crying out loud, they're paintballs. They don't do permanent damage. So the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, they arrested 4 Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department employees, of 4 fire rescue people, after they say a paintball prank war escalated into criminal misconduct. I don't even know how that's possible. That struck multiple vehicles, including a marked JSO patrol unit. And according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, the incident happened on Monday, December the 29th, in the La Villa neighborhood. And officers driving in the area noticed multiple impacts on his patrol vehicle, and he stopped to inspect. So he didn't get hit while he's driving. And so I'm just going to create that word picture for you before we go to the commercial break. It's you know what? I'm showing that we're on local radio airtime, so we're not even on the air. Oh, you're so lucky that you're saved, Scott, on that one. Going back to radio, here we go. All All right, guys, welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host. We're joined by Dr. Travis Yates, retired police major from the Tulsa Police Department, and also Scott Steyer, former Green Beret and Delta Force, and he also works for AeroPrecisionUSA.com. And I got something happened on the break, and I got confused, but now I'm back on track. So we're back from commercial break. They were given some final words on what was going on in Minneapolis, and we decided to jump into a lawofficer.com story about Jacksonville firefighters being arrested after a paintball attack hits a police cruiser, but not while he's driving. It was stationary. And of course, if anybody knows anything about paintballs, it's a ball the size of what? Maybe a marble, and it's synthetic and it pops. It's got, some kind of stained, some kind of a paint in it or whatever, paintball. So this Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, they arrest 4 fire rescue people from Jacksonville, and they say that they were partaking in a prank paintball war, and that it escalated to the point where it reached criminal misconduct, which I still find hard to believe. And according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, on Monday, the 29th, 2025, we've got in the La Villa neighborhood, we've got an officer. He's driving. He sees multiple impacts on his patrol vehicle, and he stops to inspect the damage. He finds several green paint splatters on the marked unit, and then a civilian reported that their vehicle was hit in the same manner. So officers respond to the call. They're spending a lot of man hours looking at this for paintball. They locate multiple green paint splatters on the roadway and surrounding structures. It's just like the highlight for crime in Jacksonville, ignoring an I-95 traffic sign and a one-way sign, a dumpster, and an abandoned building. I guess they all had, paintball marks on them. Investigators believe that the paint was fired from a high-velocity launcher from an elevated position. I doubt it's going more than 300 feet a second, like a BB or pellet gun. I don't know if I say it's high velocity. During the initial response, officers reported observing firefighters quickly. They ran to the fire station. They closed the doors, and then they questioned them. They found out about the prank war going on between fire stations, and they said it was a back and forth going on. And they said that evidence included 14 red and green paintballs that were found on the roof of the fire stations. They were up there playing sniper, I guess, and they had shields and all kinds of stuff up there. So anyhow, they did a big investigation. Firefighters were arrested on a misdemeanor charge of criminal mischief, which means that you're destroying property. And they were reassigned administrative duties during the internal investigation by the Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department. And they interviewed Sheriff T.K. Waters and Chief Percy Golden Jr., who works for Fire Rescue. Scott Steyer.
This reminds me of an incident I did when I was a kid. I mean, this is something you would do as a kid. This is like, and I know that, it was innocent, but, and firefighters, they have a lot of downtime. This is what I know about firefighters. They get to hang out all day, work out, clean their gear over and over again, and then go out and do something great, right? But they have a lot of downtime. It was bad decision making. It completely harmless. I can't believe this has been made into such a big deal. I can understand them being punished at some level internally. I think this could have been taken care of internally. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's very immature and childish at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think before the citizens jump up and go, you need to hold these public safety people accountable. You're watching YouTube videos tonight of people doing similar stuff. Okay. Let's just get off your high horse, right? This is just horseplay. This is what guys do to other guys, right? It's the whole police firemen, back and forth. And listen, what I hope is this shouldn't affect these guys' careers long term. This was a mistake in the moment. I hope, for goodness sake, that they don't have to look back at this 10, 20 years and go, I lost my entire career over this. So I don't know. I'm kind of surprised it went criminal. I think there's probably a lot of things you could have done that would have hurt them worse than going criminal, right? Because there's a lot of dirty things that firemen may have to do that they could put on those guys for a few years. My son's a fireman, so I understand that. He does clean a lot, Scott. He starts, and stuff like that. I think he makes his bed when he gets there, but you know what I mean? So this was surprising because when I think back of all of the horseplay that maybe I wasn't involved in my career, This is kind of nothing. Like I can remember a guy opening his car with a bunch of snakes in it before, right? Because he made the mistake of telling his coworkers he was scared of snakes. Well, that was all you got to tell a bunch of cops is you're scared of snakes. And you're going to get snakes the rest of your career. So this is kind of par for the course. I don't know whether the civilian's car getting hit created this, because that's obviously a problem. A civilian wants to file charges, but I would certainly hope that the police would have a little bit of thicker skin, and we just get them back and wouldn't get caught.
Yeah, I agree. I'm disappointed to see the criminal component on this thing. I'll be surprised if it makes it through the state attorney's office. I hope they're sharper than that. So, but guys, moving along, I've been waiting to get to the story. So let's get to this one. We have yet another cop getting drugged by a car, and I can't believe it. We had one yesterday. So at rumble.com, this is Butter, is the channel, our favorite law enforcement video channel. We got body cam shows Chicago police officer shooting Roberto Calaverio Jr., but in the back of the head. And there's multiple videos on this. I think the second one almost shows more than the first one does, which is the first one is the cop wearing the body cam when he's getting drugged. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. But Chicago police say that a 20-year-old guy was shot and killed. They later identified him as Roberto Cavallero Jr., and he allegedly tried to steal a car in the Arcadia Terrace neighborhood, and he had two other guys with him. We have Chicago police officers. So here's what happens. It's 10:30 at night, Tuesday, December the 9th. They're in a place called Westridge, and the officers are doing an investigation. They're setting up on a stolen, unoccupied vehicle. So they're waiting to see who comes to get into the car. It's stolen. They probably ran the plate, and now they're sitting on it. So as the officers are watching the stolen vehicle, another car, sure enough, pulls up. It's a dark-colored sedan. It's got two dudes and a woman in it, and they pull up alongside the stolen car. So our bad guy, Calaverio, he gets out, and another guy get out, and they attempt to enter the stolen vehicle, and that's when the officers start moving in. Now, physical confrontation happens with Cavallero, and police contend that the apprehending officer in question, they fired their weapon after the suspect attempted to speed off in the car. And police say that as officers tried to pull our bad guy from the car, he accelerated and dragged an officer. Now, this is the point where I think the glove would be a perfect tool, as long as you have skin, and we had skin. It says that the officer, while being dragged, he opened fires on the suspect, striking him shortly before the car crashes into an unoccupied vehicle. Later in the article, families complaining about, their son being, shot in the back of the head. So I'm assuming he got shot in the back of the head. And that it was effective because the car went on and it crashed, and that was over. And attorney David B. Owens, he's representing the bad guy's family. And they don't like the fact that he was shot in the back of the head. I'm looking back at my, at my show notes and stuff. There are two videos, like I said earlier. The second one really shows the officer, getting dragged, and then the officer, after the fact, when he goes on the scene and they take the bad guy out of the car, he's losing it. I mean, he's losing it. And I was waiting for someone to get him and just set him down and get him to calm down, because he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off. It was very traumatic for him. Scott, you want to take this one first?
Yeah. I mean, what did the guy think he was going to happen? I mean, it's unfortunate. But the officer was in fear for his life. He could have easily been run over, so it actually, when I watched it, I was like, what just happened? It was so fast.
I thought that it looked like if he didn't get run over, it looked like that rear tire barely missed his leg when he let go and released after being dragged.
Yeah. It was a very fast evolving violent situation. It happened very fast. And the officer did, he was, in my opinion, he was 100% justified in doing that. He was protecting himself. So, I mean, hey, he was fast. He was fast to think. It's unfortunate that it happened, but we don't know who's in there. Cops don't know that guy. And he did. I saw there was a pistol in his waistband. I don't know if you saw that when they were doing the CPR and all that stuff. So, I mean, you can't look into the future. You can't read any tea leaves. The officer was fighting for his life. So it's like I said, it's unfortunate because who knows, man? It could have been either a career criminal that was a piece of crap and he deserved what he got, or it could have been just some young punk trying to have fun. But at the end of the day, you can't do that. And you don't be so stupid. It's like, if you do something, and it's just like all these protests, if you just comply, if you just don't fight, because if you're guilty, then I mean, I have been confronted by cops many times, and yes sir, no sir, hands up. Never had a problem. Well, I did one time, but I deserved it. I fought the cops, and I guess what? I lost. And
there's a huge disconnect. I'm not sure where it's at. Maybe it's they're listening to their friends or the politicians, but we've got to somehow stop putting the blame on police officers that are having to use force based on the actions of the suspect. You cannot do that and expect to be healthy afterwards. I don't know that I don't know if they think that just can't happen or what, but I mean, we're seeing that a lot, and it's just got to stop somehow.
Well, guys, commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about if the glove would have been useful in this one. We'll be right back. All right, guys, it's time to talk about GunLearn at gunlearn.com. And as law enforcement officers, we deal with guns every day, but it's what we don't know about them that gets us into trouble. Injuries, civil lawsuits, accidental discharges, misidentifications, lost prosecutions, and disciplinary issues. But gunlearn.com, they have your back. You can quickly become extremely firearm knowledgeable by simply learning 14 training modules from the convenience of your home or your office, or by attending a live seminar at gunlearn.com. You can also become a safe, accurate, and competent certified firearm specialist like our very own Captain Brett Bartlett and also attorney Ken Afianco. Now, the course has had huge success in raising the bar of firearm knowledge, and GunLearn has been a trusted source since way back in 2011 by gun manufacturers, federal agencies, forensic organizations, and police departments nationwide. Now, here's the deal, the best deal. The founder, Dan O'Kelly, has got a deal for you. If you have your own agency, you can actually host a seminar for absolutely no cost. It's an amazing opportunity. You can go to gunlearn.com to get more information. Again, gunlearn.com. All right, we have 2 minutes again, guys, before we come back to the radio portion of the show. Wow, moving along very quickly. So, do you wear Betty Dunn wants to know, do you wear the uniform? I'm not sure who she's talking to.
I think Betty's talking to Ken, who says, quote, the culture that exists within the rank and file of U.S. law enforcement is horrendous. I would like Ken to just ponder this for a minute, because he obviously has lost a lot of brain cells watching CNN. Replace the word law enforcement with anything else, and let's see what we think about you. The culture that exists within blank race, within that other profession, within this or that, is horrendous. You would be run off these platforms as a rampant racist. But because you know better, you can say whatever you want about law enforcement that you don't know anything about. To make that blanket statement about 800,000 police officers, you're nothing short of the stupidest person I'll probably meet before noon today.
Yeah. Well, a lot of this is about education too. Whenever you get people and they're on the other side and you ask them to plausibly explain their position, they usually can't do it. Well, they can't do it. I haven't had one being able to do it yet.
Chip, if I was stupid like Ken, I would think all teachers were rapists. But I'm not stupid, so I know that's a few bad apples out there that take advantage of our children. So I don't call the entire profession that. But law enforcement people seem to be able to get away with that, and they get brownie points for it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how Ashley Babbitt, she gets shot. She didn't even have a gun on her.
Her crime would have been misdemeanor trespassing and vandalism. That would have been her crime.
Yeah. And so nothing from that. No riots. No. You know why? Because it falls on a different narrative, and the people that happened to, they're not. No outside force or sources are funding that.
We are back.
The riots.
All right, guys, welcome back to Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip DeBlock, and I'm your host. We're joined by Dr. Travis Shades, retired police major from the Tulsa Police Department, and Scott Steyert, former Green Beret and Delta Force member, also with AeroPrecisionUSA.com. We're talking about a story. I believe it was Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, and it's about a cop getting dragged, shooting the bad guy, the driver, in the back of the head. And I don't know how many shots. It could have just been one shot. Family's not happy. That's okay. We got a cop that's alive. Look, we're not saying we don't like cops getting dragged by cars, because it can be avoided most of the time. But I'm not saying that there are not instances where it could happen, because there are situations. Maybe you've got kids in the back seat. and someone's abducted the kid, you stop them and you have to go in the car and you're trying to get the kids out, and then something happens and the guy starts driving or whatever, you know, and you don't want to take him off with the kids. There's always ways things can happen legitimately, but I want to talk about the glove. We covered a story on yesterday's show. Travis and I just got hooked up with the glove from Compliant Technologies last week, and we would both testify it was a wild ride, extremely effective. But what kind of a difference would it have made if that officer would have had maybe just one of two gloves on his hand when he was trying to extract that driver?
We don't see these shootings anymore. It's that simple. Obviously, you know, we took this ride last week, Chip, and I understood it was probably an effective tool because I've seen other tools in law enforcement that were effective. I had no idea this was the most effective tool that the profession could ever have. This ends at least half of all deadly force shootings today. It ends all these things we're seeing on a daily basis. The idea that this is not the most widely purchased and given out tool to law enforcement today is insanity to me. I cannot believe it that's not happening. Quite frankly, I'm very frustrated by it. It concerns me that if we have leaders that do not see the value in this. Now, maybe they were like me and they didn't understand the value. I am telling you right now, I spent 30 years in this profession. Before that, my dad spent 27 years in this profession. Before that, my dad's father spent 25 years in this profession. I'm telling you right now, there's been nothing like this. This ends all of these videos that we keep seeing that nobody likes. Use of force doesn't look good on video. It ends it. It ends it tomorrow. And so people need to really check it out.
You know, let's talk about that glove challenge to let people know what's going on. And we're going to try to do a better job. We've got just over a month before this will come to fruition. So right now there's a landing page. If you go to thewoundedblue.org and you look under the event section, you'll see it's a landing page, but really it's a graphic. It doesn't say click here. So you have to click on the graphic. We're going to try to change some of that to make it a little bit more easy to understand. And when you go to the Wounded Blue, it says Glove Challenge, but it gives the dates of SHOT Show, January 20 through the 23rd. And it kind of gives the impression that the contest is over, but it's not. So if you go there and you want to donate, here's how it works. And this is how you can win a pair of the gloves. They're valued about a little over $1,700 a pair, and you can win a pair. And the person that got gloved, that made it the longest, would be able to get a pair too. Now, they can't be owned by an individual, so it would have to go to an agency. But if you're active and you work at an agency, you could donate them to your agency. They technically would own them, and you could be trained and carry them, assuming that your agency will let you. So the way it works, go to thewoundedblue.org, and under the event section, you'll find the Glove Challenge. Click on that. It takes you to a donation page. Make a donation to the Wounded Blue, and either put Dr. Travis Yates' name or put my name, Chip the Block, when you make the donation. And then at the end of February, the end of next month, the people that filmed it and timed it, they're going to release it's really, we're all winners on this thing, you know. And the biggest winner is the Wounded Blue. But the person that lasted the longest will end up getting a pair of gloves. The person that lasted the longest without complying, I should say. And then the person that donates in that person's name the most amount of money, they will win a pair of the gloves as well. So it's a win-win. They're giving away 2 pair of gloves, and you can enter that contest, you know, right now by going to the Wounded Blue, thewoundedblue.org. Did I leave anything out, Travis?
No, that's it.
Yeah. So, and I think that during the 4 weeks or so before the announcements are made, they pick winners and stuff. We're going to be releasing little portions of video or freeze frames of the application, because we were being filmed, and I don't even know what my face looked like, Travis. I know what Travis's face looked like, but I don't know what my face looked like.
Well, Chip was very manly here and said, I'll go first. I'll go first.
Dude.
So I had to
watch
him go first before I did it.
So let me ask you, when you were stimulated, did you go into the fetal position? Like you get hit and you go down. And what's cool is, since you don't lose your motor skills, you still intuitively kind of break your fall. At least I do. Like I'll go down, I'll kind of break my fall, but I always end up, and most everybody I see, they end up in a fetal position, and no one can understand why.
You know, with me, and I'm going to be careful how much information we give out, but with me, Travis actually asked for a safe word. and which I thought was brilliant, right? And so and the safe word was stop. Okay, easy word, right? Easy, right? So whichever one of us shall stop, they release. Well, so when I went and they applied the glove, I'll be damned if I couldn't remember what the safe word was.
No, you don't. Your mind
gone out of my mind.
Yeah.
And I
was smart based on this Chip. I knew Chip couldn't remember the word stop. So I said, okay, I've got a safe word. And if I raise my arm up, that's the backup safe word. And then when I got hit, I couldn't remember either one of them either.
Yeah, because I didn't hear you say the safe word either, but I do remember your hand going up. And then I ended up on the floor. I didn't remember how I got on the floor. And I will tell you that when I'm getting gloved, it was they grabbed me on the wrist. I only felt it from the wrist down, but it's the weirdest thing. Everything like slows down. So I had this thing from my childhood when I was young and stupid. I used to take metal keys and put them in electrical outlets. And so what happens when you get shocked, you just like, you pull your hand away. But if you leave your hand like an electrical outlet long enough, you feel the pulsating of that electricity because it pulses. And that's what the glove did. It was held long enough for me to feel the pulsing, which I know Travis did too. And that's what in my head it popped. That's what popped into my head, and I didn't want any part of it, but that I couldn't remember the safe word. But I ended up on the ground and I rolled. When I watched the video, I put my hand down. I broke my fall. I rolled. I wasn't injured. I was worried about my left knee because I had surgery recently, and I was fine. So. It was so impressive. Yeah,
and I think that's one of the many benefits to using this is it doesn't use a lot of power just by the way it's designed. It doesn't have to go here and create a circuit through your body, through fascia, through muscle, through fat. It doesn't have to do that, which takes a lot of electricity, right? If depending on where you're shot with like this.
It's also, Scott, not considered a firearm, and the newest technology from the company we all know of. It's considered an actual firearm. So wait till the crazies use that against us.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of which, good luck trying to take the gloves off. So the likelihood of that getting into the subject's hands and then using it against you, it's very, very slim. I mean, so there's a lot of ploys. It's just like Travis said, it's the first thing I said when I saw this is like, oh my God, this is life-changing for officers.
Oh yeah. Every cop needs to have a pair of these. They're only a little over $1,700, so they are affordable. But especially when you think of what they're saving you in liability, and it protects bad guys' lives too. It's not just the good guys. If the bad guy doesn't have to get shot by a cop because he's being non-compliant, and the optics are good, a lot better than beating a guy with a expandable baton, a metal pole.
Well, think about this, Chip. 91% of all officer-involved shootings began with non-compliance. Imagine if you remove non-compliance from the situation with the glove, then you're not getting involved in the shooting.
Yeah, no, game changer.
And with very little training, it doesn't take a lot of training, because that's another thing. Is a lot of tools you have, it requires a lot of training in order to implement them correctly. This one's very little training because it's very intuitive. The biggest thing you have to learn is how not to touch yourself when you're dealing with things,
which is very hard to learn.
It corrects itself pretty quick after a little bit, so.
With you. Well, guys, another great show. Thanks so much to Dr. Travis Yates from Tulsa Police Department. He also has travisyates.org and courageouspoliceleader.com. And also, Scott Steyer, thanks for being on the show. I do want to talk about the Wounded Blue real quick. Lieutenant Randy Sutton's 501c3 that's helping cops out in a world of hurt that are suffering from things like PTSD and other issues. I support them monthly. If you guys are looking for an organization to support that's not going to embarrass you, please consider the Wounded Blue, thewoundedblue.org. Travis is even on the board of directors there. Travis, anything else you have going on that you want to take 10 seconds for real quick?
Nope, just hit the website up. You can find out about the training and the articles and all that right there.
All right, guys. Don't forget. And also, hey, please support our sponsors, guys. We have Gauss.com, ComplyTechnologies.com. We have AeroPrecisionUSA.com, Gunlearn.com, MyMedicare.live, Safeguard Recruiting, our streaming sponsor, TwoBells.com, and FisherLandoBass.com. And guys, thanks so much for watching the show. We appreciate it. Hope everybody has a wonderful and a safe week. And you know what? It's we love doing the show. We'll see you guys back tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern. and we're going to keep this going for about another minute and a half, guys, to keep the satellite company happy. Final words for anybody, gentlemen?
I hope everybody enjoys the game or no, actually it's not this weekend. Was it February?
And when is the Super Bowl?
I think it's February 8th. I think so.
So MVS is on Rumble saying that he's having trouble with the cost of $1,700 for the glove because he's wondering why at that price every officer does not have a pair.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, that's the price of a firearm, of a high quality firearm.
Okay. Scott, I mean, we're spending probably a minimum of $100K when they get out of the academy on them. Mm-hmm. The cars, the boots, the uniforms, the tasers. I mean, on top of that's nothing. That's nothing.
And think about this: for officers who have to go hand to hand. Let's say it doesn't turn into a shooting or anything, just going hand to hand, or even a correction officer. The longer they engage in that, the higher the likelihood that he himself is going to get injured. That is workman's comp. That means, missing work, all kinds of stuff, right? This right here, yes, there's an investment up front, a very small investment, and it's going to save the department, the city, and lives at the end of it. It's incredible. And I just hope that any law enforcement officers that are out there that are listening to this, give it a shot, ask for a demo, see for yourself. It's unbelievable.
So we have some more postings. Travis, they want you to run for president still. And then we've got Bill BC saying that he saw him applying the glove in the winter area, well, in the cold areas where people have a lot of clothing on. And let's just say we're talking about a vehicle extraction, Bill, the back of the neck. Dude, yeah. You're there. They don't have gloves on. Go for the finger.
And it's the same problem with the device that doesn't work 60% of the time. Clothing will stop that as well, especially heavy clothing. So clothing is always an issue with these devices. So yeah, so let's just take the device everybody knows about. You can't shoot them in the neck or the face or no. It can't happen. It can't happen. So on this one, wherever you touch them.
And you can do that. I mean, it's like there would be like different levels of I guess aggressiveness on the law enforcement officer's side. So yeah, you wouldn't go there right off the bat, but it's not going to kill you. That's the thing. It's so safe that if an officer had to, like if the subject's on top of him and he's fighting for his life, he could literally put the glove on the face and push that. They're going to get off. And guess what? It's going to hurt. He's going to be fine.
I love it. Guys, enter the contest, the glove challenge at thewoundedblue.org. Go to the events page. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys back tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern. And let me get the